Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Governor Andy Beshear makes another visit to Eastern Kentucky to announce some funding to help our region grow. And as we continue dealing with the aftermath of historic flooding, students in one Eastern Kentucky county are finally able to return to the classroom.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning to you. It's Tuesday, just before 5 o'clock. I'm Dakota Maychrist. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And let's take it over to Brandon for a look at our forecast. Brandon, again, foggy this morning. And it was actually foggy on my way in this morning, but yeah.
It was a smidge on the foggy side this morning in some areas, but yeah, it's going to be another, not so much dreary, but a better day as we head deeper into the afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. Take a look at our visibility numbers right now. Actually, let's take a look at our satellite radar right now, and you can see not a whole lot to scan there in the overnight, so we're very cautiously optimistic that those clouds will start to clear. Now, here's the visibility numbers. You can see anything less than 5, which is a big chunk of our region there on this map, including a lot of zeros near Moorhead, Somerset, Middlesboro, and Jacksboro this morning. Again, dense fog, so be careful out there. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s, but still warmer than yesterday. 58 in Clintwood is our cool spot, 68 in Jackson, in Pikeville, and over into Somerset and Jacksboro are warm spots this morning. So a normal day on the coffee meter, no extra needed today. Your out the door forecast after the fog lifts. Sun and clouds and temperatures climb into the mid-80s this afternoon. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. After Monday's state funeral, Queen Elizabeth II was laid to rest next to her husband and parents inside St. George's Chapel on the grounds of Windsor Castle. Earlier in the day, heads of state from around the world attended the Queen's funeral service, and thousands crowded the streets of London to honor their monarch of 70 years. CBS's Ian Lee reports from London.
Generations of Queen Elizabeth's descendants were front and center during her emotional state funeral inside Westminster Abbey yesterday. Among them, the future of the monarchy, King Charles III, his son Prince William, heir to the throne, and 9-year-old Prince George, who is second in line. A handwritten note read, "In loving and devoted memory." It was signed Charles R. for Rex, or King.
It is quite surprising to see him weep, but actually I think he's going to be a more emotional king than a lot of us think.
The funeral drew heads of state from around the world, including President Biden with the First Lady and Commonwealth Prime Ministers from Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
We recall her lifelong sense of duty and dedication to her people.
After the service, the Queen's family watched solemnly as the coffin was loaded into a hearse. Then the pageantry continued, with Queen Elizabeth passing through the heart of the British capital one last time. Thousands lined the streets of London to watch a near 25-mile procession from Westminster Abbey to St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle for a final service. Soon after, Queen Elizabeth's coffin was lowered into the royal vault before being buried in a chapel alongside her parents, sister, and Prince Philip, her husband of 73 years. A lone piper who woke the Queen every morning played one final time for her as she was laid to rest. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Well, the period of national mourning officially ended after yesterday's funeral. The royal family continues to mourn for another week. And while King Charles began his reign the moment his mother died, his coronation is expected to take place late spring or early summer next year. Here in the mountains, Governor Andy Beshear visited the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg with 2 special announcements. A more than $4 million investment in the Dawkins line rail trail was the first announcement, and the planned completion of the Mountain Parkway expansion was the second. The last leg of the project will connect Salyersville and Prestonsburg, but will be completed as a new road to keep the traffic flowing as construction kicks off.
With the decision we just made, you're going to continue to be able to use it in its current form. You're not going to have long delays. You're not going to have major parts shut down. You can still travel that route while we build this new 4-lane highway.
Well, the governor says road completion is about connecting the region while also considering the people who live and work here. Nearly 2 months following the historic flood that damaged several schools in Knott County, many students are finally back in the classroom. The first day back was yesterday. The district's original start date was August 10th, with the devastation making that goal impossible. But now, students, faculty, and staff are together once again, aiming to have a happy, healthy, and normal school year.
The past week has been crazy. Teachers and staff members have been in here from sunup till sundown. So I think to finally be here today, to see the kids coming to the building definitely makes all this hard work worth it.
Brent Hoover says the return to school has given many students, faculty, and staff a sense of relief following weeks of uncertainty. COVID-19 cases are dropping nationally, but still high here in eastern Kentucky. The region is in the red, signaling as a high-risk area for COVID, despite the high numbers. A lot of schools and businesses have been lenient on masking, which Cumberland Valley District Public Health Director Christy Green says is okay as the region continues learning how to live with the virus.
There are improved treatments, so we're seeing fewer people with severe illness. We're seeing fewer people dying from it. So we really are learning to live with COVID.
Health officials say despite the relaxing guidelines, communities should still be cautious. And areas of Harlan County are without water this morning. The Everett's water plant is facing a shortage of water, and it's affecting several hundred residents in the area. Woodrow Fields, the chief water plant operator in Everett, says a recent drought paired with a buildup of small leaks has led to the outages. Officials say it could be a few days before everyone in the area can get their water back on. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday morning. When we come back, Hurricane Fiona continues to make its way through the Caribbean, leaving behind a path of destruction.
And the thermostat starts its trek upward today as we see the end of summer officially in sight. I'll have more on some approaching rain chances in about 3 minutes.